Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate a couple of different ways to do post stitches to get different effects. Now, in this piece I have before me, right here in the darker blue I should say, we've got regular post stitches, front post and back post, to create a ribbed look. You can see it's the same on either side. If I kind of hold it sideways here, you can see there's lots of texture and it looks like ribbing, like you'd find around a cuff or maybe the bottom of a sweater. This is something I demonstrated in my previous post stitch video. This is what's normally meant by post stitches. Unless otherwise specified, you're going around the post and it creates this really highly textural post stitch. Now, something I haven't seen a whole lot, but that is featured in the All Grown Up series of free patterns on mooglyblog.com, is post stitches that are worked right under the top V. Let me show you a little bit what those look like. That's right here. These are back post stitches, but they've worked right under the top V of the previous row. So rather than going down around the post, normally the post stitch would be worked here. These are worked right under the top V of the stitch here. And you can see it creates this really neat sort of pinstriped look. That's what I call it. That's what it makes me think of. This is when you work the back post stitches. You're coming from behind and wrapping around and pulling the loop back around. Let me turn this inside out here. And you can see this is what it looks like if you're doing the front post stitches. Because of course they're just the opposite of each other. And you can see it actually creates a really smooth, kind of a unusual, neat, but a really clean line to the stripes. Because you don't see one color worked into another, you get a really clean break. So this can be a really neat effect. So let me show you really quick how the difference is made here. I have here a series of double crochets, actually foundation double crochets, but they could be any stitches here. And if I was going to work, let me grab a different color yarn here so we can really see the difference. If I were going to work a series of post stitches, I would normally insert my hook for a front post stitch. I would go around the post like so, yarn over, and finish my stitch. This is a front post double crochet. It could be any number or any height of stitch, of course. There we are. Double crochet. Let's do that one more time. And again, if you want more information on standard post stitches, I do have a separate video for that. We're going to go around the post from front to back. It's right to left if you are right-handed, left to right if you are left-handed. Pull up the loop and finish the stitch. Pull through two here. Okay, and that's the front post stitch. For the back post stitch, I would yarn over, coming from behind the fabric, go around the post, yarn over, pull the loop through, and finish off the stitch. Once more, I would yarn over, come from behind, and finish the stitch. There we are. So that's standard post stitches, and I use these quite a bit in many of my patterns. Many people do. It's a great stitch. Lots of texture. You can create ribbing and all sorts of neat effects. It's also the start of cables. Cables, of course, you'd be crisscrossing them and all over, but really it just comes to post stitches. But now I want to show you how to get that pinstripe effect. Again, that's just what I call it. But of course, if you work it from the other side, where the pinstripes don't show, the inside of what I just showed you, you create some really clean stripes. So what I'm going to do is, rather than going around this post, I'm going to come, as if I'm making a back post stitch, I'm going to go right under that top V from behind, go into the next V from the front there, yarn over, pull the stitch through, and finish my stitch. And I didn't actually start a full stitch here, but you get the idea. We'll just chain 3. Call that our first double crochet here. Alright, now to do the next one, I would go into that space that we finished with last time, from behind, go into the front of the next stitch under that V, pull the loop through, and finish the stitch. Alright, and you can see got that little pinstripe right under the V is starting to show up. Now if I wanted some really clean stripes, I could do this with front post stitches. So we'll try that here. I'll yarn over, go into that same where we finished up that last band. I'm going to go in there from the front, come up under that top V from behind, pull the loop through, and make my post stitch. There we go. Let's do that again. Yarn over, go into that space, like so, and make my front post stitch. My double crochet here. There we are. Okay, so you can see there's still a little bit of texture, but not nearly as much. It's a much flatter fabric. If you flip it over, I've got the pinstriping happening here, and this side is more like what we saw here. So they still work as the opposites, still makes a reversible fabric if you switch back and forth, or two different looks if you don't. So that's the pinstriping, or right under the V, way of making post stitches. If you look at the anatomy of the stitch here, let me show you that first row of double crochets. You can see that a standard post stitch is worked under this horizontal bar right here, whereas the shallow, I think that's another good term for it, a shallow or pinstriping one would be above that horizontal bar right there. So if you're making the all grown up arm warmers or hat or any of the other all grown up patterns, because there are more coming to mooglyblog.com, then you'll want to remember that when you see those pinstripes in the pattern, to work right under that top V, like so. Alright, and that's all there is to it. And if you liked the video, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.